For anyone who's been a fan of this channel for quite some time probably knows, I am a big fan of character arcs, those changes that a character goes through in order to make storytelling all the more compelling. And when it comes to professional wrestling, a lot of times, character arcs come in the form of turns. But what makes this so interesting is that when it comes to champions, for some reason, turns aren't really all that common, which is all the more reason why I think they need to be focused on, like as the topic of this video, because today, thank you to all my excellent Patreon supporters such as Edgar Perez. I really do appreciate the help, and if you want to become a member yourself, then go over and visit my Patreon page. Thank all of you so much. Alright, so this list is about the all too rare turns that happen as a champion. But before we get into that, allow me to ask that you please make sure that you're subscribed to this channel and that you give this video a big like. Thank you so much. And now, with that being said, let's get into the episode. Okay, so now this first one is on a bit of sketchy ground, but that's why we're gonna get it out of the way first. Hulk Hogan's sixth and last WCW World title run, in a lot of ways, was his most interesting. Randy Savage had just won the WCW World title at Bash at the Beach in 1999. Then, the following night on Nitro, Hogan made his return to the company after being gone for several months. He would accept an open challenge from Savage for the WCW World title, and he would do so with a fairly positive reaction from the crowd. However, he would win it with the assistance of Kevin Nash, who would powerbomb Savage in order to help Hogan win the belt. Now, some view it that Hogan was already a face upon his return. However, the way I see it, the way he won the title really doesn't make him a full-on babyface, at least not just yet. Hogan's babyface turn was a slow burn, with Nash turning on Hogan the following week. But for me and many fans, the real official babyface turn happened when Hollywood Hulk Hogan accepted and donned once more the yellow and red Hulkamania gear. This change and this title run would only last for a few more months. But hey, what can you do? That was just WCW booking at the time. After successfully winning the Money in the Bank briefcase and then successfully cashing it in later that night on Charlotte Flair, Bayley became the WWE's first ever Grand Slam Women's Champion. But then, later on during this run, Bayley would brutally attack Becky Lynch with a steel chair, claiming that she was only doing so in order to help her friend Sasha Banks. However, after this, Bayley would successfully retain her title by using an exposed turnbuckle to defeat Charlotte Flair. Now, similar to the turn with Hogan, this was a long drawn-out process, with Bayley not debuting her new look and attacking her wacky waving inflatable tube men until after losing her championship. However, once she did so, she would win it right back and continue on like nothing ever happened. But this time, this title run would last a lot longer, so apparently being bad works pretty good for Bayley. After winning the World Heavyweight Championship off of Chris Benoit at SummerSlam, Randy Orton became the youngest world champion ever in WWE history. However, his celebration would be short-lived, as the following night on Raw, Triple H and his other Evolution stablemates would turn on him, kicking him out of the group and making him babyface. Now, this title reign really wouldn't last all that long, less than a month in fact. But what is surprising is that Orton's face run would continue beyond this, as it lasted until, well, he RKO'd Stacy Keibler a few months later. After delivering his pipe bomb promo and winning the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank 2011, CM Punk had an off-again, on-again relationship with the WWE title. That is, until Survivor Series 2011, where Punk's epic run with the belt that would last over a year finally began. And one of the reasons why this run was just such a big deal is because CM Punk turned right in the middle of it. During Raw 1000, which happened in July of 2012, The Rock announced that he would be challenging for the championship at the Royal Rumble the following year. This led to Punk turning on The Rock later on in the night, claiming that the WWE shouldn't be focusing on superstars like The Rock and John Cena, but rather the focus should always be on the WWE champion. And from here, Punk's run as a heel champion would contain other major events, such as teaming with Paul Heyman and the debut on the main roster of The Shield. Once upon a time, Bo Dallas was a young, plucky underdog babyface who the fans just loved to cheer. He was even a surprise entrant in the 2013 Royal Rumble where he shockingly eliminated Wade Barrett, which then resulted in him getting a shot at Barrett's Intercontinental title. Not bad for a guy in developmental. And even though he didn't win the IC strap off of Wade, he did end up winning the NXT Championship. But unfortunately, the fans slowly began turning on Bo, with Dallas eventually going full on heel and becoming a paranoid champion who was willing to do anything in order to hold onto his title, even if it meant turning on some of his friends such as Neville. Dallas's heel run would continue, even to the main roster where he would continue to Bo-leave. And in a bonus entry, Neville would surprisingly go through a very similar change himself during his title reign. After winning the WWE Championship from The Rock at WrestleMania 17 with the assistance of Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin would turn heel. However, by that summer, Stone Cold would turn face yet again, after Vince McMahon himself requested that they get the old Stone Cold back in order to take on the threat of the invading WCW and ECW. However, this face turn would be short-lived, as Austin would turn on his WWF brethren in order to join the Alliance and become their leader at the Invasion pay-per-view. But we're still not done yet, as Austin would lose the title in September of 2001 to Kurt Angle. However, he would gain it right back just a few weeks later, all while remaining heel. That is, until Survivor Series later on that year, where the Invasion storyline would come to a close. Then the following night on Raw, Vince McMahon declared that he would be stripping Austin of the title and he would be giving it to Kurt Angle, only to have Ric Flair come on in and announce that he owned half of the company and that he would be keeping the belt on Austin. To which Stone Cold would reply by doing what he does best, attacking Vince McMahon, and thus going babyface once more. And now, back to CM Punk and back to another Money in the Bank winner. After Jeff Hardy won the championship off of Edge, CM Punk immediately came down to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and become the new champion. But then, not too far into his run, and Punk would start using some chicanery, retaining his championship by disqualification and feigning an eye injury. This resulted in CM Punk going heel, using his straight edge lifestyle and holding it over Jeff Hardy to feel superior. And I have to say, weird choice having the straight edge guy be the heel when you're kicking off the PG era. Odd decision. Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, the dirtiest player in the game, has been babyface on more than one occasion. And one such time is when him and Sting teamed up to take on the team of Terry Funk and the Great Muta. This resulted in Sting himself becoming a Horseman. But what the Stinger didn't realize is that the Horseman's entire purpose is just to keep the belt on Ric Flair. And so, after gaining a #1 contendership spot but refusing to give it up, the Horsemen all immediately turned on Sting, thus resulting in the Nature Boy going bad once more, despite still being champion. And #1, how could it be anything but Macho Man Randy Savage? Now, this culminated in the Mega Powers exploding, but it started when Macho won the vacant championship at the WrestleMania tournament. This then resulted in Macho and Hogan forming a team, the Mega Powers. But then somewhere along the line, Macho started losing sight of what was important to him, forgetting about Miss Elizabeth and putting his gold above everything else. This would lead to Savage going heel and him and Hogan having their legendary clash at WrestleMania 5. And even after losing the belt, Macho would continue his heel ways, eventually becoming the Macho King. Although all would go right with the world, as Macho Man would reunite with Miss Elizabeth and once again win the WWF World Championship. Well, there you go, 10 champions that turned while they were in the middle of their title reign. But where's some more that you can think of? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to make sure that you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all of my awesome Patreon supporters. And as always, Dave knows.